cooking up some fun meals that hopefully save us a lot of money. I am going to be talking stuffed meatballs and or baby burgers today because what I want you to see is that even though the price of meat is going up, how we use it creatively will make the difference as to how much money we spend. And I just want to thank Jody before we get into this for the research that she did on her side for me, because it's really important to understand. A lot of you are in the States. I'm in Canada. We've got people from all over the world. So just understand the numbers we're going to talk are sort of Canadian stroke US numbers. And you might live as Lauren does, in Tasmania, way down south, that little island at the bottom of Australia. But, it doesn't matter. What I want you to do is to understand when you're going to need to be a lot more creative. And as I've often said, if you want to make healthy meals, but you're on a limited budget, if you start thinking about how do people in other countries do this, all right? Now, as you will know, a lot of them use a lot of the staples. They use rice, they use noodles, spaghetti, whatever. But, it's possible to do, everything in moderation and still have it pretty healthy. So today I'm going to have some fun. We're going to do different sorts of things you can stuff in meatballs, and obviously the limit is up to your imagination. That's the whole thing. Plus, I'm going to do my version of Swedish meatballs, just because I can. And all of it, what we're going to do is use 1 pound or roughly 500 grams, both official languages, of a mix of beef and pork. And the interesting thing is, when Jody was doing the research, she asked me, 80-20 split or 70-30? And I'm going, I have no idea. So we reckon it's probably 80-20. In other words, 80% beef, 20% pork. Does it make a difference? Maybe. And that's the whole thing you need to have a look at. Maybe just the mix alone will save you money. What I did is I took my amount of beef. Let me get it out to show you. And this is what 1 pound or 500 grams looks like. Now, it depends where you buy it. I'm going to put it back in the fridge. Hang on. I'm going to put it back in the fridge because it's pretty warm in here. It's about 78 degrees, 79, somewhere in there in my kitchen at the moment. And I'll talk about that in a second. Before I do, Jody, and when I went into the fridge now, I saw my milk. And if you haven't tried it for latte, I've got the 3.25% whole milk. I want to tell you that makes awesome latte. I haven't tried the 2%. But this one, and by the way, I bought 3 bottles for the month because I know it's going to last, and it just says I need to use it up by August something, probably the end of August, and I reckon I probably do that. Let me have a look here. 23rd. Yep, just a week before my birthday. How about that? So this allows me to buy more milk, which will save me money in the long run. Hi, Sharon. Good to see you. You're still in South Mississippi. Lordy, it's hot down there. Can't go on, but wanted to send hugs and greetings. That's wonderful, Sharon. We'll look forward to your return. Have a wonderful time. So for those of you who don't know, the interesting thing is buying that filtered milk lasts so much longer than regular milk. I have not had to throw any milk away since I've done that. So Jody, a big thumbs up. Thank you very much indeed. And here is the latte foam that it made. I'm amazed it's not over here. whole new experience. And it tastes great. All right, so what we're going to do is, first of all, I'm going to wash my hands, because you know I like to do that first. But let me talk a little bit about money. My 500 grams at the store where I normally buy my meat cost me about call it 750. It was 740 something, right? But let's call it round number 750. Jody was saying that in the States, the same amount of that mix is about just 5 to 10, around there, 510. But I noticed that she did her pricing in Walmart, so I had a look to see what the pricing was for me in Walmart. If I'd gone there, I would have saved myself about 50 cents buying the mix in Walmart. And so that's something, again, it's not just the mix that you've got, but also where are you buying it? Now, the other thing is we like to have a mix of pork and beef, but what if you had only pork rather than beef? That's amazing. It just about halves the price, both in the States and here. Jody, I had a look at both, and you gave me that it was about $3.58 if it was only pork. So you might want to consider that when you're making meatballs, instead of having beef, have ground pork meatballs. So you can do that for about $3.50 a pound, which is a great price. And then I found it here was at $4.97, Jody. So that was quite interesting to me. If you did it with chicken, it also would halve the price. What if you did ground chicken? Funny enough, ground turkey, not so much. Both here and in the States, it was, close to the beef mix. So now that we've done that, let me wash my hands. In the meantime, 1 pound of ground beef pork mix. How many meatballs should we make? Now, I want to see if you remember, what is a serving? How many ounces in a serving? So how many could we get out of there? Oh, it's so good. All right, so how many of you are going? She needs that. It's warm in here. I think those of you who know me well know that I start by saying, where are the vegetables? All right, that's the most important thing for me when I'm doing meatballs. After I've got the meat and I've got a pound of it, where are my vegetables? So I had a look in the fridge, and I had all sorts of vegetables that I need to use up. And as I think those are regular viewers, as you know, what I like to do is I've got some onion here. I've got some celery leaves. I've got 2 different lots of peppers, red and orange. All right, and I have got, as the rest of the celery, and I've got some carrot. So I wonder how much that is. Oh, I know how we can work it out. All right, so let's see how much this all adds up to. We'll do it in reverse. 0. Thank you. So this is 10 ounces. 10 ounces with the container. So we'll take another container to see how much the container weighs. About 4. So I got about 6 ounces of vegetables here. But we've got other stuff that we can add to it. I'm going to add a little bit of water because then it'll grind it all up nicely. And then I will strain it. There we go. And why do I want to grind it all up? Because that way it won't show in the meatballs that it's vegetable, you know, because people don't like eating vegetables, do they? So we will now strain it. And what are we going to do with the juice? All right, so now we've got this much vegetable juice coming out of our vegetables. I would say hang on to it and use it as a base for soups. And also, you know, nuke it a little bit to cook it and then let it cool again and use it for smoothies, all sorts of uses. But we've got most of the moisture out of there. We don't want it all out, as Jody so rightly says. You know, it also helps keep the meatballs juicy. I'm going to zero. All right, so now let's see what the weight is. Six and a half ounces. Okay. So do we gain a little bit just by doing that? Just going to start the air fryer warming up. So we'll try not to waste too much. Now we're going to, what else are we going to add in here? All right, we're going to add in some breadcrumbs. Bulk it up a bit. Probably do a little bit more. And then, by the way, these are my breadcrumbs that I, you know, homemade breadcrumbs. I think you know that. And we need an egg, so that's going to add a bit of weight. Good. We're now up to 10 ounces. That's pretty good, isn't it? Now, obviously, you could match it 50-50 if you wanted to, but I think this is enough for me. So we're just going to stir that up a bit so all that's incorporated. And then we'll put the meat in. Oh, we need to put some herbs and spices in there. Good point. Why not? What have we got? I'm going to put in a little bit of allspice. I know that sounds weird. It's great in meatballs. A little bit of chili powder. Why not? And we need salt and pepper. All right, so I'm going to put in, it's Friday, so I'm allowed to have salt on Fridays. So I'm going to put in just a pinch of, this is lemon pepper, and it's sort of salt and pepper mix. I don't want too much. And I'm also going to put in a teaspoon of mustard, right? Gives it a good taste. If I had a teaspoon. And the mustard I'm using today, we used Jeannie's one from Maine last week. This week I'm using stout and stone ground mustard. Now, I haven't put bacon in this week just because I'm trying to do a different version of it. But obviously we could do bacon. So I'm going to mix that all in. Doing pretty well. It's now up to 11, and we haven't even stuffed it yet. So I think we're on the right path. I'm now going to add the meat. And now I'm going to get a plastic bag, grocery bag from the fruit that I bought. As I think you all know, I keep mine for this reason. And let's mix it all up. I didn't put any pepper in. Don't remember putting pepper in. I know I put the mix, but I'm going to put some extra pepper in. Why? It's good for the metabolism, Jody will tell you. Do that. I put my finger through the plastic. It's a problem when you got nails. All right, so now we have got nearly 12 ounces. 1 pound, 14 ounces. No, sorry, 1 pound, 14 ounces. So that's nearly doubled the amount. Can you see you've halved the price just by adding the vegetables to it? And I didn't put in mushrooms or anything else because you can fill them with that if you want to. So now, did we remember what a portion is, everybody? And it's a really good idea to know. Black pepper has magical ingredient called alkaloid piperine, which is known to boost the metabolism. Yes, I try to remember to add it to everything, Jody. I go, and is there pepper in there? Yeah, it's 3 ounces. However, this is what they say. It's different whether you're going to have it for lunch or dinner. What they say is sort of 3 to 4 ounces for lunch. And those of us who are trying to lose weight, 3 ounces is enough. But if you're going to do it for dinner or for company, you probably want to go to 4 plus. And they say even up to 7, right? But, you know, I'm looking at it, how do you get the best bang for your buck? What we're going to do today, by the way, if I get this all going in the right direction, is meatballs with roasted peppers in a pita. You know, rather than have burger buns, I'm going to be doing stuffed meatballs in a pita with roasted vegetables, roasted peppers in it. So that's my plan. So what does, I'm going to do this in the right order. What does 3 ounces look like? Let's have a look. And that would be 3 ounces just of the meat. But because we've got this mixture, oh, that was pretty close, Sal. Well done. Let me just zero it. Exactly 3 ounces. Okay, that much. So I'm going to put that in there. Oh, that's good to know. It's just about, look at that. It's just about a muffin full. So now that's a good measure. I like that. So let's put some in there. Some in there. That was a brilliant idea. Now, we're going to stuff them. So we actually need half of them. We can do that. Take that out and halve it. Take that out. Halve it. Now, I don't know about you, but that's quite a, that's quite an easy way to do it. I'm going to put this lot back in the fridge because I'm going to stuff them in a minute. But in the meantime, I'm just going to do some regular ones. And the question is, are you going to do 1-inch meatballs or 2-inch? What are you inclined to do? I think I normally do about a 1-inch meatball. Okay. But if you take 1-inch meatball like this, okay, and flatten it and fill it with something and close it, you've now got a 2-inch meatball for the price of a 1-inch one. Does that make sense? So how many of you remember my Devils on Horseback, where we took prunes and stuffed them with cream cheese? I did an experiment this week just to taste it, and that's dates stuffed with cream cheese. So what I thought was, what if we make some of them with dates stuffed with cream cheese and then wrapped in the mixture? Yum. Sounds good to me. Right, when you're dealing with grapes, always remember just to open it up, and you need to open it to stuff it. And then inside, you will see that little pip there. Can you see it? Just there. All right. So I'm going to take the pip out. Take some cream cheese. Stuff the date, as they say. By the way, just like that, wrapped in bacon. Really good experiment. I enjoyed it. So now I'm going to wrap it. I might need a little bit more. We'll see. Maybe not. Anybody getting hungry yet? So this is now a stuffed date stuffed inside that. So I'm just going to put it there. Let's do another one. No, we want about, okay, we'll see how many we can do. Probably a little bit more than I need. Take a date, halve it, for 2 reasons. Number one, to get the pip out. They're quite small, actually. And then just fill it with cream cheese. Now, could you add things to the cream cheese? Absolutely. You're a great believer in adding whatever herbs or spices you want. I'm just doing plain ones, so I know that they're all the same. Try and get the meat as evenly as possible around your little mini egg, if you like. That's what it looks like, right? Now, I was going to put chunks of cheese in, but to my horror, when I went to the fridge, I realized I forgot to buy cheese this week, which is very unusual. I always, oh no, wait a minute. I've got smoked cheese, haven't I? Yes. So let's put some smoked cheese in. Just for a different taste. I was going to put some really nice cheddar in there or some brie, but for some reason I didn't buy cheese this week. Okay, so this is just I'm going to put half a baby bell in, like that, and just now the interesting thing is I'm not going to mark which ones have got what in, so that's the surprise. What did I get? It's good. Do another one. Oops. Now these I am going to roll in more breadcrumbs, just so that they're crunchy. And that's going to be pretty simple. But I'm going to start with some Parmesan. And I'm going to throw in some more breadcrumbs. Now, you remember we did an experiment using these French's onions. I'm going to put some of those in as well. Grind them up a bit more. Okay. Another one. So we've got 2 date, 2 cheese. We'll do 1 more of each, I think. Let's do another date. Except this time we'll roll it in breadcrumbs. How many of you know this is a labor of love, really? And again, a really, quick thing to do, and an inexpensive to do if you're going to a potluck or something. So we did one. We're going to do a second one of cheese. No, we're going to do another one with date, because I got the dates this week, and I nearly always have cheese. Now, I want you to be honest with yourself, and how many of these? This is about fits in the palm of my hand. How many of these do you think you would need as a meat serving? Not what are you meant to have, but how many do you honestly think you would need? Because I found that I'm eating less and less now. So I probably would have 2 as a treat, but I could probably get away with 1 if I wanted to. In a pita, I would just need 1, wouldn't I? But I've still got this much left over, all right? And remember, I've still got half of it in the fridge. And what I'm going to do is to put this away as well, because we'll start cooking these up. And what I will do is probably freeze the others, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that so that I can fill them later and put them together. So I'll show you what I'm going to do. So I'm going to put this away. And wash my hands again. And I'm going to put these in the fridge. I'm going to cook them in a second. But these are going to go in the fridge. Oh no, actually, you know something? They won't take very long to cook, so let me put them in right now. I've put them in for 15 minutes on 375. Now, obviously, you could put these onto the barbecue and, do anything you like with them. I'm going to hang on to this as well because I will make the rest of it later or tomorrow, depending on how tired I am tonight. Now, I think you'll agree that that didn't take a whole lot of time. It took me half an hour to put all of that together. We doubled the amount of supposed meat that we've got visually. And how many of you know that visually is half the battle? Make sense? So while we're waiting for those first ones to cook, I want to rinse this off. Clean that up. That looks a whole lot better. Now, the other thing I wanted to suggest to you is if you want to ring up the changes a little bit, I really recommend adding in a prepackaged soup mix. Right, this happens to be onion, and I forgot to put it in there, but I will put it in to do the rest of them. Even if you just put a teaspoon or two of it, it's got all the herbs and spices in it. You know it's going to taste great, and it's a very, you don't waste anything. You've got just about the right amount. I also use dehydrated foods and stuff like that, so I just put them in when I want to. All right, this is going back in the fridge. So Jody, we now have cut the cost of this meal in half. Would you agree? That's what I'm trying to show you. Although it won't look like it's been cut in half, because we've got twice as much for the same price. So now the question is, what am I going to have with my meatballs? We know I'm going to put it in a pita, so I thought we might just do a nice caprese style salad. So all I'm going to do is take, actually I'm going to halve a tomato this way, and then I'm just going to cut small slices. Like this, because it's just for me. And that will go back in the fridge. Now, I said caprese style because I'm going to use the baby bills instead of mozzarella. Actually, isn't baby bill smoked mozzarella? Jody will check that for me. I think it is. So maybe we got the right thing after all. And what I'm going to do is just cut that into little strips, like that. Oops. Hello. And then I'm going to take a bay leaf, not a bay leaf, a basil leaf, just roll it up like this, and then cut that finely. And just sprinkle that on top. How about that? And then just before I serve it, I will put some balsamic vinegar and oil across it. And some pepper, of course, right? But nice and easy, healthy, very quick to put together, but doesn't it look nice? You know, that's the whole thing to me, is like, it's going to be a pleasure eating it because it looks pretty. Now, while we're waiting for everything to cook, I thought I'd show you some of my flowers. Is that okay? I don't care if it isn't. I'm going to show you anyway. So what we've got here is my first peony of the season. Mind you, it could be the only peony of the season. My beautiful rose, and I'm going to show you, this is what it looks like when it starts to bloom. That's the Lady Gardner rose, the David Austin one. And that is one that I got from my neighbor. This one, she gave it to me. She didn't want to tend roses anymore. All right. Yeah, isn't that stunning? Now, here's the thing, Jody, and the rest of you, of course, that when this one, the pink one there, the Lady Gardener, when it fully blooms, it looks just like a peony. Look at that. And that's what I wanted to show you, how much like a peony it looks. And then this again is that stunning rose that I recently got. And, those are from my chives that I'm growing, and these are Sweet Williams. So lots of color in my house now. But as you all know, I'm constantly thinking, from June onwards, I'm constantly thinking Christmas. I thought, what if I make potpourri out of my own rose and flower leaves this year? And all I'm doing is I'm taking the leaves, all this lot at the bottom, the only ones that aren't dried yet are the white ones. And what I'm doing them is I'm putting them in my hothouse window. And I want to tell you, they dry up and keep their color in just like a day. So I'm going to put this at the top there. Like that. And I wondered if any of you saw that I was going to go shopping for some perennials. What I decided is I might be too broke by next year, if everything goes the way it seems to be able to necessarily buy a lot of annuals. So what I thought was, while I've still got a bit of money to spare here, not much, but a little bit, let me go and buy the perennials, because there was a 40% off sale, and I'll put up the video about it. But I thought you might like to see what did I get. All right, I definitely got 2 really nice size pinks, otherwise known as not delphinium. What do they call them? Dianthus. All right. Why? I love the smell of them. The smell brings me joy. So I got 2 of those. I got one of these, and I'll put it all in the video when I edit it. Now I got 2 of those. Really pretty. I got 4 little bushes like this that I want to put down the side of my property. And that is a Sienna sunset globe. And that's what it looks like. Mine is absolutely perfectly shaped. It's wonderful. I got a couple of these, and this is called a Safari Adventure. It's a pineapple lily. Has anybody ever seen one? All right. Don't you think that's beautiful? So it has a dark red leaf on it, like a lily. You know the what's that lily called? I'll think of it. Anyway, so it's a really dark. Can you see how dark the leaf is? But then it gets these almost like pokers, a bit like those, those pokers that I love so much. Totally new to me as well, but I thought that was really stunning. And it grows up to a height I can only read with my glasses on. It grows to about 2.5 to 3 feet high. All right, so that's great for my size garden. And it does need a lot of sun, which is good. And it blooms late summer and early fall. Can you understand? I'm now trying to get things that will bloom later in the year. So I was very excited about that. And then I also got some blanket flower. Don't know if you know that. And all of these, hopefully, if the winter doesn't kill them, all of these will come back next year, and probably for a number of years. And this needs full sun It grows to about 10 inches. So it's, lower than the other one, obviously. But it's pretty big. It's already flowering. So, and the flowers are a decent size. The blooms are a decent size. I really like that. I don't normally like that coloring, but it really looks so impressive to me. And I thought, with what I've already got in the garden, that's going to look really good. I also bought some creeping thyme for my bank, and some a succulent, a creeping cactus type succulent that looks like it likes being in drought, and therefore I thought it was a good thing to plant on the bank, see how it did. Some of you might know that I actually planted a cactus garden at the side of my place this fall to see how they survived winter. I'm amazed. It has just about doubled in size. So I'm putting those on the bank. All right. So let them grow there and keep doubling in size, and I'll just keep moving them around as they grow. So what I'm trying to do is I will probably slowly, year by year, turn that into a rock garden with some bigger. I will probably take my peonies and take them to the back of the house because it gets better soil and more light. So that's something I'm thinking of doing. When I take them out of their planters this year, I will take them to the back in the late summer, early fall. I'll take them to the back and replant them ready for next year. There'll be an incredible show at the back for next year. Then what will I replace it with? Well, the good news is that my peonies double every year. So I'll keep the smaller ones at the front and start planting the bigger ones at the back, where they will get even bigger. Good idea? But it was amazing how much that cost me, even with 40% off, and I will show you the numbers in the video. All right, so let's put this in the fridge. And the next thing we're going to need to make is the pitas. So what I did is I think you all know that I make my own dough, and this is just my regular, I make a sourdough of my own. It has regular flour, has whole wheat flour, it has rye flour, and then it also has flax seeds and chia seeds in it. Very tasty. So what I'm going to do here is just put a little bit of flour down. Go on. Thank you. And the trick with dough is it sticks to you. Thank you very much, Jody. I'll pick it up when I've got this first one done. Need a little bit more flour on there. And I'm inclined to make my dough far wetter than I need it, because I know that in rolling it out for my pitas, I allow myself 1 pita a day, and normally I only eat half. But I make it about this size, cook it, and cut it in half. And I'll show you that in a second. So, which way? Put it this way, right? So that's about the size. It's sort of like a dinner plate size, not a dinner plate, a side plate size. About 7 or 8 inches. And you don't even need to roll it if you're not too fussy. I need to clean my hands now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the little meatballs out and put this in, just as it is. Ouch. All right, the question is, are the meatballs done? Let's check. So this is, I just put them on 15 minutes at 375. I don't know if they're done enough. We'll find out. Ground beef needs to go to, we want it more than medium. So medium cooked would be 160. Now, you do know that as this meat comes out, it will still continue to cook. It's already at 163. That's good. Let's try. Oh, there's some cheese. This is the one with the breading on the outside. That's also done. So 15 minutes, not bad. Hey? That's what I love about the air fryer. It cooks so quickly. And if you think about it, I didn't turn them or anything. I just let them cook. So the trick is to get them out of there without breaking them. Which may or may not be possible. Oh yeah, that held together nicely. So Jody was saying Lionel would eat 3 and she would eat 1. But can you see how easy that was? Really? And that is this one, I would say about a third, no, maybe half of the meat mixture. And so that will last me, even if I had 2 each meal, which I wouldn't. I think I'd only have 1. But you understand how many, a quick one for a lunch with a salad, or, I'm going to do this one in a pita. But we also need to do some roasted vegetables to go with it. So let's do that. Oh, I'm so pleased with those. I'm going to put them on top to keep warm. So I'm going to roll out the second pita just so it's ready for tomorrow. Got dirty hands again. I can feel it. Don't stick. And if I wet my hands first, it doesn't stick nearly as much, but I always remember that after I've done this. So, come on. I've now got 2 dirty hands, not 1. Come on, can't be a nuisance. Now, the reason I like to always have my dough a little more moist than normal is because it does allow me to, add more flour to it without ruining the dough, just before I cook it. So there is tomorrow's daily bread is all done. And anybody who works with dough will tell you, you have the most beautiful looking nails by the time you've finished with dough. For some reason, it just really does clean them up beautifully. And what I do sometimes when I think my nails are beginning to look a bit grungy, I will actually make a flour and water paste and just put them in underneath my nails, let it dry and take it out, like I'm doing right now. And it's amazing how white your nails look. All right, so we're going to put that one away. And as some of you know, I'm on a mission to continue to lose weight. And one of the ways I've done it is to ration my bread intake. I still allow myself to have bread, but every day I allow myself this much that I just messed up. And I can choose how I use it. I can use it as a pita. I can use it to cook up and dunk in oil and vinegar, but it's like I'm allowed that much and that's it. I can't go back for seconds. Why? Because I won't cook seconds. I'll just cook this. And some days I don't use it at all. That's the interesting thing. And because I do it that way, I can make my dough once a week. I just make a full thing of dough, and then I divide it up into 7 or 8 pieces, and then I just work through it during the week. Works really well for portion control. Now, what would you do with the flour that's left here? All right, that's my next question, all right? So I've got flour left over. I'm not going to throw it away. I put it all together like this. And I get the jar in which I am making my next lot of sourdough, and I just put it in there. And then every day I add a bit more flour and water to it and stir it up a bit. And by the end of the week, I will use half of this in as my starter for my sourdough. Trying not to waste things. Anybody want to know how the pita's doing? Can you see it? So exciting. You know something? I couldn't have wished for it to look better than it does right now. So I cooked it at 375, not at the... No, I turned it up to 400. Let me be honest. I turned it to 400 to do it. And when you see it, you will understand why I'm so excited. So I'm just going to clean this off. Yeah, Jody's saying nice, no waste. I really am trying to learn this because I think we will need to. We will all need to learn not to waste more than we absolutely have to. And if you can do that, you probably will have great savings in your house. And my thing is this, what I save, I can then spend on buying really good dates or, you understand, or I see it as I save here so that I can spend it somewhere else. And that allows me to eat meals that are really tasty, but at a budget. You have to know two things. Number one, some of you know it's always been my dream to be able to make my own bread properly, and I've now got that mastered. And my next thing was, now let me learn how to make my own pita bread, because I wanted to. And what I'm going to show you is I use the same dough. Don't mix a special different dough, because it's me. Why would I bother? It's like I don't want to work that hard. So I use exactly the same dough that I make my bread with. And this is what it looks like. How's that for a pita bread? I'm going to leave it in there just to cool down. It does look perfect, doesn't it? Let's hope that it is perfect inside. And, what I'm inclined to do is to remember that, sometimes it won't be 100%, and I don't mind. I will just cut it to see how it is in the inside. And if it looks like it needs another minute, I give it another minute. I'm not a perfectionist like that. It's like, okay, I probably do better with another minute. So now we're going to do some roasted veggies. One of the things I'm learning with this air fryer is, wherever possible, and you don't need to air fry everything, I found that having something inside something else saves a whole lot of cleanup. And, because all this stuff I just throw into the dishwasher. Now, I throw my stuff from inside in the dishwasher as well, but that wire basket, it is not easy to clean when it gets dirty. And I've tried. So if anybody's got one of those wire baskets and have found the right way to clean it, I don't care how meticulous I have been, how much I soak it, I still end up with a not perfect thing. So I'm going to put some red pepper in there. I've got a little bit of leftover orange pepper, not a whole lot. And I think I'm just going to use up this little bit of onion that I've got, but I want to cut it really finely so it doesn't take long to cook. It's not as perfect as I would like, but should do. Put that in there. I'm going to throw, funny enough, a little bit of oil and vinegar in there to give it a taste. So this is my homemade cumin seed, honey, and balsamic vinegar and olive oil. So I'm just going to put a little drizzle of that over the top. Like that. And I'm actually just going to cook it like that. It's going to make a real mess of my little container, but that's easier to clean. There we go. I'm just going to let that cook for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to stir it all up again. So here is my pita bread. Sounds good. One of the things they say, if you try not to burn yourself, if you pick it up and it sounds hollow, right, then chances are it's good. So all I'm going to do is cut it in half, which will obviously make it deflate. And there is my pita. Hi, Ez, good to see you. And there is the other half of the pita. And what I found works really well is I just stuff some paper towel in there to absorb the moisture while it cools. So I'm thinking that's just about the perfect size for one of our, what do you think? One of our stuffed meatballs. Even two. I think one will be plenty for me. So, any questions? Just so that I make sure that anything you want to discuss while we're waiting? And do you understand how we turned what would have been 6 helpings into probably 8 or probably 10 helpings just by the way we did that? And if I had used chicken instead of beef, mixed, that up. Now, obviously, you're not going to mix chicken and pork. If you're using pork, make sure you know who's coming to dinner. For obvious reasons, if you've got any Jewish people coming to dinner, you don't want to use the pork, nor do you want to use the blend. So I'm inclined to sort of go, okay, who have I got coming to dinner, and can I use pork at all, ground pork? And for a lot of my friends, I can, but again, some of them you can't. Now, for dessert, I'm having chilled watermelon. And Jody, I think I'm correct in saying basil is really good with watermelon as well. So I'm busy finding ways to enjoy my basil plant that is doing so well. It just amazes me. So, all right, let me put these vegetables away. And you see, I've still got vegetables left that I need to use. All right, a couple of comments. I don't know how you keep your watermelon, but watermelon takes up a lot of space. So what I do is when I get the big one, I cut it up and I put it in big mason jars like this, but I turn the mason jar upside down so the liquid all goes to the bottom. So it's not sitting in its own liquid. And what I'm going to do now is this now, all right, is not all soggy and nasty. The other thing I found works really well if you happen to have enough of them. Is to use a mesh bag, put the watermelon in a mesh bag, and then hang it inside a mason jar, but leave about half an inch at the bottom, so the moisture can go to the bottom, and it keeps your watermelon pretty fresh. So this watermelon has done me for over a week already, and the reason is because it hasn't been going bad anywhere. All right, it's just keeping it cool. So I'm going to have that, and I'll mix it in with a little bit of basil, but I just wanted to show you how I do that. Does that make sense? And even if the top ones feel a bit mushy, I can throw those away, but the rest of it's fine. So I've saved, this is now my third jar, I think, of watermelon. And why did I buy a big one when I live on my own? I can get twice as much for half the price. And I knew this was going to be a really hot week. So 2 choices I have: eat it up during the week or freeze it, because you know it's great frozen. Really tasty. See, now the moisture from the heat has gone into here. So now my pita is not all soggy, but it keeps its shape. I'm so proud of myself. Now, how do I want to eat it? It's up to me, right? Sometimes I just cut it in half and make a loaded sandwich out of it. But look at how thick the sandwich is, all right? This is like nothing like a burger bun, all right? And it's going to look so much more prettier. So let's load it up, shall we? Oh, but first, turn this over. It's looking good. I think I'm going to get my keeping warm up there, isn't it? Yay. So what have we got? I think I'm going to put some lettuce in it. And remember, I buy living lettuce and keep it growing. So I'm going to start off by putting some lettuce in there. And some of you will probably want to put in some tomato. But we've got our tomato salad that we're doing, right? The caprese type salad. So I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to load in the stuffed meatball. However, what about a slice of marbled cheese in there? Yeah. I've got one left. Goody, goody, goody. So this is my marbled cheese allocation. By the way, did you know that these slices freeze really well? So I'm going to put that, double it up like that, stick it in there. Looking good. Now I was going to put the roasted vegetables in there, but I think, oh, mind you, I could put the roasted vegetables in a separate one. No, I'm going to keep that. I don't need that much bread. So I'm just going to do it like this, make it like a burger, rather than fill it with other things. You want to see the vegetables, right? So these have taken really just about 10, 15 minutes, that's all. Just like that. So they'll still be a little bit crunchy and very tasty. But I'm going to keep these, warm them up tomorrow. And the peculiar thing is, that's what I have found, as I've downgraded the amount of food I eat. Now that I'm eating proper sized portions of stuff, I'm amazed I just don't need as much, which again, Jody will tell you, it's a great saving when you don't need those big helpings that you needed before. So now then, I'm going to take a non-crunchy one. And how many of you can see that that is such an interesting meal? All right, I've got a burger without a big fat bun on it. I know that half of that is already stuffed with, could be, it could be cheese, or it could be, what was the other one? Oh, stuffed dates, right? I don't know which one I've got in there. That's gonna be the fun of biting into it. And so there you go, a nice simple meal and quite a bit of it. How many of you are going, it actually ends up being more than you thought? Do you agree? How many of you are going, that does look like a pretty substantial meal? And also remember, I now put my meals on a side plate, not on a big dinner plate. And that's why I look at that and I go, that's a pretty good meal. And I have still got watermelon afterwards. And if I'm still feel like a treat after that, I'll wait a couple of hours and then I'll have cheese and crackers. I can do that now because of the way that I'm eating. So there you go, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. How long did it take us? What's the time? Yeah, about an hour, just over an hour. And I've still got so much meat left to work with, which I will finish doing tonight or tomorrow. All right. I will continue making more of these and I will freeze them. I've got a guest coming next week, so I will bring them out and make stuffed pitas for them rather than a burger. All right. And they're going to think they died and went to heaven. And I'll be surprised as to which one they got. But what I will also do is make one, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make the shape of a couple of them and freeze them in their halves so that if I say to her, one's got one's got dates and cream cheese in it and the other's just got cream cheese in it. If they don't like the sound of the dates and cream cheese, I will recommend they try it, but never mind. I can then cook them up a separate one if they want it that doesn't have that in. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed it. This is DearMamaSal. Looking forward to eating this as usual. And I really want to thank you because my meals definitely get more and more challenging in some ways to me, but I'm going, okay, how can I use roughly the same stuff but differently? And that's what cooking is all about, isn't it? Is how many different ways can you cook chicken? How many different ways can you use ground beef? And did you know that buying ground pork is half the price of buying ground beef? And did you know that ground chicken, all right, is also half the price? So once you know that, it's now up to you how you want to save money. And if you have just about equal amounts of meat and ground up vegetable, nobody's going to see it, right? But the truth is, you will have doubled your amount of meats for no extra cost, really. I'm just using up stuff from my fridge. Bye-bye for now, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you on Sunday, and I look forward to it. To all of you, thank you so much for being here. And by the way, Jody, thank you as usual for looking after me and doing the research on prices for me. I really appreciated that. This is DearMamaSal saying, you know what I'm going to be doing. Bye-bye for now.